prize reporter with the Oklahoman, and today I'm joined by Candace Reynolds
Hey,
from the
Matt.
Oklahoma City Zoo, and as well as Dr. Rebecca Snyder, Curator of Conservation and Science. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Welcome.
What's happening at the zoo? I know this is a busy time for you guys this time of year.
This is a busy time of year. We love spring at the zoo, and with April, of course, we have Earth Day, which I know we've passed, but we celebrate every day.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Of course.
The zoo, we're everyday conservationists. So our big Earth Day celebration is coming up this Saturday from 11 to 3, and it is our Party for the Planet, which is it's a joint event with all AZA zoos and aquariums. So that's Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We get together and pretty much throw the biggest Earth Day party you can think of. So
Sounds
a lot of fun things planned.
What goes on at these parties?
What happens at these parties? We have so a scavenger hunt for kids, so they can get out in the zoo and go to the different habitats and find answers to their clues, which kids love scavenger hunts. We have some live entertainment planned. We have some dancers coming out. Hopefully, if the weather holds out on us. The event is rain or shine. I'll go ahead and get that out there. But I do understand if some of our performers won't want to come out and dance in the rain.
Is there a rain plan if it does rain? Do you guys?
If there's a rain plan,
it's just gonna happen?
absolutely.
Okay.
Because it's just going to happen. You're just going to curse us like that? Just
No, and the event will happen. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, the event will go on, of course, rain or shine, and we will move activities into our indoor buildings. So guests, they can still come out and just bring those umbrellas and go from station to station, and you'll have a lot of fun.
And what have you? Looks like you've been to 7-Eleven.
I know.
What's going on? Tell us a little bit about these.
These are
cups.
awesome. These are our new souvenir cups at the zoo, and we took a different approach this year with the theme of the cups, and we went with conservation initiatives. So the Oklahoma City Zoo has a lot of projects that we support, and my friend Rebecca here will get a little more in depth to that. But each one talks about a different project that the zoo has supported or something that we may be maybe supporting in the future. But each of these species represented on the cup are endangered or their habitats need help, and by purchasing the cups, guests are helping with conservation initiatives, which you can't beat that. I mean, you come in, get your souvenir cup, which is a great buy by itself because you can bring it back and refill it at the zoo all summer long, and then you're helping some really cool projects.
And this is kind of what you do, Rebecca. Talk a little bit about. I know that the Roundup Fund has donated a significant amount of money to different conservation causes recently. Talk a little bit about some of those causes.
Well, anyone who has been to the zoo in the last couple of years has probably been asked to round up when they made a purchase at the zoo. So that is one of the methods that we're using to generate actually quite a large amount of money for conservation support, both locally and globally. So what happens is, either at the front gate or when they make a purchase, food and beverage purchase or retail purchase, they're asked if they want to round up to the nearest dollar. And then that money goes into our Roundup for Conservation Fund. And last year it generated over $80,000 just last year. Awesome. So this year we are spending $100,000 of that money on various projects. And the two big projects for this year are supporting critical habitat protection in Asia. So we actually did a staff survey to see what conservation issues the staff thought was most important. And saving critical habitat came up highest among staff for an important cause. So that's what we wanted to focus the Roundup Major Initiative on this year. And we chose Asia because that is a really densely populated part of the planet, and with a lot of humans comes problems for environment and wildlife. And so we chose Asia also because it's a biodiversity hotspot, so there's lots and lots of species in need of protection, both animals and plants. So the two major projects that we're focusing on are Rainforest Trust. That's a project in central Sumatra. Sumatra is an island. It's a very crowded island. It also has some really critical habitat for some very important species, including some species that are well loved at the zoo. So our Asian elephants, Sumatran tigers, Sumatran orangutans, all very popular animals at the zoo, all animals that are endangered or critically endangered. And so this project, the zoo's money was actually used to purchase 13,000 acres of rainforest in that area. And it's part of a larger project that's actually over 200,000 acres of rainforest that will now is purchased, is now protected, and also has wildlife units patrolling.
And this is like a long-term solution, right? I mean, that's kind of the
Exactly.
aim of that.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that'll be protected for long term for those animals, and then protect the habitat for other animals as well.
I think it's cool to tie it in to kind of get people to think about it more locally. Let's see, what repurchase is how many times bigger than Lake Hefner?
The amount of area that the zoo's money purchased is 5 times the size of
Wow,
Lake Hefner.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then the overall area is 80 times the size of Lake Hefner. So it's a big chunk of forest
It really
in
is.
central Sumatra. And it's lowland forest that is really prime habitat for a lot of animals.
And is poaching a problem there? I know
Yes.
we were talking about
Yeah.
elephant poaching and
Yep.
things like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. So poaching is a huge problem for lots of animals that live there. It's a very big problem for Sumatran tigers. So this is a tiger skin. Tigers are poached for their skin, like we have here, but more so than the skin, what they're being poached for is their bone, which is used in traditional Asian medicines. It is extremely, extremely valuable. And tigers are a species that has been decimated by wildlife trade. So there are 5 subspecies of tigers still living. Tigers used to range all the way from Siberia down through, through India, down through Southeast Asia, all the way to the islands of Bali and Java. There are now believed to be only 3,500 tigers in total left in the wild. In that tremendous area where they lived, that's almost, it's unbelievable to me that there could be that few. And it's mainly, habitat loss is a problem for tigers as well, but it has mainly been poaching.
And elephants aren't really much better off, and you brought an elephant
Exactly.
tusk, and
Yep.
this is basically when they kill an elephant, an 8,000-pound elephant, this is all they really want, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
They sometimes take some meat too, as kind of a byproduct though, but the reason, what's valuable from that elephant and the reason elephants are being wiped out is because of these ivory tusks,
Ivory.
which are used, so in the case of tiger, that's used for a traditional medicine. It doesn't have any medicinal properties though that are actually healing. It's just a long-held cultural belief. The tusk is used just for making decorative items, so for making necklaces and jewelry.
And very
things like that.
valuable in itself, I guess.
Yes, it's valuable. So the value varies, but a kilogram of tusk is worth a few $1,000s.
Is there any efforts by our government or any other government to kind of curb this? I mean, it seems to me these countries are caught in they have this tourism resource, but they're also selling, chances to kill these animals too, through hunting.
Yeah, the U.S. government is really heavily involved in conservation globally, as well as within our own country. So there is the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has a rhino, tiger, and elephant fund, and so they actually fund a lot of conservation projects. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has funded another project that is in Myanmar, which used to be Burma. And that is the second project that the zoo is supporting with the Roundup money. So that is an Asian elephant conservation project, and a lot of the funding came from the U.S. government, and now we're helping. It's with a partnership with Wildlife Conservation Society, and we're helping to fund that as well.
And private industry, I read, I think last year Delta announced they were not going to fly big game trophies anymore back to the United States. It seems like some airlines have kind of put the stops on that too.
Well, and WCS has had 96 elephants, which is a great
Yeah,
campaign.
we've seen those billboards here in town.
Yes, absolutely. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
What is the shell that you brought? What is?
So this is from an alligator snapping turtle. They live here in Oklahoma, and
sure
they are
do.
not they're not an endangered species currently. But I just wanted to talk about wildlife trafficking isn't something that's just happening in other countries and affecting species in other countries. So turtles across the world now are many species of turtles are endangered and critically endangered. They are the most critically endangered group of vertebrates currently. So turtles have been around for a long time. They've been around since before the dinosaurs. They live in a lot of different habitats and parts of the world. They've been a very successful group of animals for a very long time, but they are being wiped out essentially for the food industry. So they're being collected in huge numbers out of the wild, and their populations just can't sustain that kind of collection. So in a 2-year period, 15 million turtles were exported from the United States. Again, they're going to food markets, primarily in Asia, or to stock turtle farms there. And those exports were legal, so some of them came from turtle farms, but many of those animals were collected in the wild, all throughout the United States, including alligator snapping turtles, common snapping turtles from here in Oklahoma. And the problem is the laws in the states haven't kept pace with the demand now. So there's no limit in some states on how many turtles you can collect, and so because they're valuable and there's this market now for them, it's not simply people collecting them who like to eat them themselves, they're collecting them to sell them then to this huge demand. And so Oklahoma is one of the states that does actually have some laws in place that protect turtles and limit the amount of collection, but many other states do not, and so it's very easy to collect turtles in a state like Oklahoma and then just drive across the border to a neighboring state that doesn't have those laws and then just sell them. So it's a problem in this country as well.
We talked about Roundup for conservation. What are some other things people, if they want to get involved, what can they do?
So just by being a member of the zoo, buying a membership, they are also helping support the zoo's conservation program. So the money that the zoo spends on conservation comes from the Roundup program, and it also comes from zoo memberships, and then some just from private donors. But the majority of our money is from memberships in the Roundup. So that's one thing. But for turtles, simply thousands and thousands of turtles are killed in Oklahoma just by people driving over them too. They just don't see them or notice them. So spring is a time when lots of turtles are moving. They're moving to find places to nest, they're moving to find mates, and so just being aware when you're driving around and stopping safely if you can and picking that turtle up and moving it to the other side of the road in the direction it was headed is an important thing people can do. I see turtles, I live up in Edmond, and I see turtles on the road all the time. They're starting to come out now, so just being mindful of that is a helpful thing as well.
It seems like when we get a lot of rain, they just
Yep,
pop
they
out,
like to move when it's warm, when it's rained.
I break for turtles if it's safe.
I've done it.
I
I've
do.
stopped
I
a
really
couple times
do.
myself.
I think
Important thing.
our director, he's carried a little cooler in his truck before just for turtles, to get them and kind of relocate them.
It's a good thing.
It is. It is a good thing.
We were talking about elephants, and I had a chance to observe some people go through the Wild Encounters program with grizzly bears. But I'm told that you guys have expanded that a little bit, that program. Talk a little
We
bit
have
about
very excited. So Wild Encounters is our new behind-the-scenes program. Guests can come and purchase that experience. And like you're saying, Elephants is getting ready to launch this weekend. So it'll be a 3 o'clock experience. Guests can purchase that in guest relations. And it's up for, you can have a group, I believe, up to 10 people, and children can participate as well as adults. And it's an amazing experience. You get to go behind the scenes, see the elephants up close, make a connection. And that connection is what brings people in and helps and just gets them to care more about helping and supporting the projects that Rebecca's talking about. So it's a really cool program, and I just hope people will come out and take
the
advantage
people
of it.
I watched go through it. Had a lot of fun,
They have. And so we have elephants, sea lion, and grizzlies.
Okay.
Right now, those are our 3 wild encounters. They're available daily, with elephants kicking off this, I believe, Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
really cool.
Rebecca Snyder and Candace Reynolds, thanks for joining us today, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.